Earth produces predators, never prey part. 1. First Contact Commander. Alice Winters stood at the viewing window of the UESF Pathfinder, watching the stars stretch across the vast darkness of space. Her ship had been exploring this uncharted region for 3 weeks now, and so far they had found nothing of interest. "Commander, we're picking up an unusual signal," said Communications Officer Nathan Reyes. His fingers moved quickly across the control panel. "It's not matching any known patterns in our database." Alice walked over to his station. "Could it be a natural phenomenon?" "I don't think so. It has a definite pattern, almost like a distress call." "Direction?" "Sector 7. About half a light year from our position." Alice nodded. "Lieutenant Daniels, what's your assessment?" Jack Daniels, the ship's security chief, frowned as he studied the readings. "Could be a trap, but if someone needs help out here, they're a long way from home." "My thoughts exactly. Navigator, plot a course. Let's check it out." The Pathfinder changed direction, its engines humming as it accelerated toward the mysterious signal. Alice felt a flutter of excitement in her stomach. This was why she had joined the United Earth Space Force: to explore, to discover, to make contact with whatever waited beyond the stars. 12 hours later, they found the source of the signal. "It's definitely a ship," Dr. Olivia Patel said, examining the sensor readings. "But unlike any design I've ever seen, the alien vessel drifted lifelessly in space. Its hull was smooth and curved like a giant seed pod. Along one side was a massive gash, as if something had taken a bite out of the ship." "Life signs?" Alice asked. "Yes," Olivia replied. "Faint, but present. At least 20 individuals." "Lieutenant Daniels, prepare a boarding team. Full environmental suits. Dr. Patel, you're with them." Jack nodded, his hand resting on his weapon. "We'll be ready in 10 minutes. The boarding team consisted of 6 people: Jack, Olivia, and 4 security officers. They crossed the gap between ships in a small shuttle and attached to what appeared to be an airlock. "Atmosphere inside is breathable," Olivia reported through the comm link, "but I recommend keeping helmets on until we know more." "Agreed," Alice said from the Pathfinder's bridge. "Proceed with caution." The team entered the alien ship, their lights cutting through the dim interior. The corridors were tall and wide, with smooth walls that seemed to be made of some kind of hardened resin. "No sharp corners," Olivia noted. "Everything is rounded, and look at these markings. They might be some kind of writing." Jack kept his team alert as they moved deeper into the ship. "Stay focused. We don't know what we're dealing with yet." They followed the life signs to what appeared to be the ship's central chamber. The door was jammed, but they managed to force it open enough to slip through. Inside, they found the survivors. The aliens were tall, about 7 feet in height, with 4 arms and long, slender bodies. Their skin was a pale blue, with patches of short, soft fur. But what struck the humans most were their eyes, large, gentle, and full of fear. When the aliens saw the humans, they backed away, making soft, whistling sounds. "They're terrified," Olivia whispered. "I don't think they're soldiers." Jack lowered his weapon slightly. "Dr. Patel, can you try to communicate with them?" Olivia stepped forward slowly, hands raised to show she meant no harm. One of the aliens, slightly taller than the rest, moved hesitantly toward her. "Hello?" Olivia said. "We're here to help." The alien tilted its head, then touched its throat. It made a series of clicks and whistles. "They can't speak like us," Olivia said. "Nathan, are you getting this on the translator?" Back on the Pathfinder, Nathan Reyes worked quickly. "Running it through now. Give me a few minutes to establish basic parameters." While they waited, Olivia noticed one of the aliens was injured, purple fluid leaking from a wound on its lower arm. She slowly opened her medical kit and pointed to the wound, then to her, "Supplies." The tall alien seemed to understand and nodded. Olivia carefully approached the injured alien and applied a bandage. The alien's whistling changed tone, becoming softer. "I think that's a thank you," Olivia said. The translator began to produce rough approximations of the aliens' language. Over the next hour, they learned the basics. The aliens called themselves the Gathri. Their ship had been attacked by something they called the Dominion. They were refugees, fleeing their home system. We need to get them back to the Pathfinder, Alice decided after hearing the report. Their ship is losing power, Dr. Patel. Can they survive in our environment? Yes, Commander. Their biological needs seem similar enough to ours. With gentle coaxing, the 23 Gathri survivors were transferred to the Pathfinder. They were given quarters in the cargo bay, which had been quickly converted into temporary housing. The Gathri seemed constantly nervous, especially around the human security personnel. They keep staring at our teeth, Jack noted during a briefing with Alice and the senior staff. And our eyes, Olivia added. When I explained that humans can see forward with depth perception, one of them actually trembled. What have we learned? About them? Alice asked. They're herbivores, Olivia explained. Their entire evolution was based on gathering and growing food. Their society has no concept of hunting or predation among intelligent species. And this Dominion that attacked them? From what we can gather, the Dominion is a collective of species that classify all intelligent life as either predator or prey. Based on evolutionary history, the Gathri are classified as prey. Nathan leaned forward. Kiratal, their leader, told me prey species are treated as resources. They're allowed to develop technology up to a point, then they're harvested. Their planet's stripped of resources. Their people used for labor. A heavy silence fell over the room. We need to report this to Earth, Alice said finally. This changes everything we thought we knew about galactic civilization. Before anyone could respond, alarms blared throughout. The ship. Unknown vessel approaching at high speed, the tactical officer reported. They're not responding to hails. Alice hurried to the bridge, the others following close behind. On the main screen, they saw a sleek, angular ship bearing down on them. Its design was completely different from the Gathri vessel, all sharp edges and predatory lines. They've locked weapons on us, Jack reported. A message came through on the communications channel. The universal translator struggled with the language, but the meaning was clear. Surrender the prey assets immediately or be destroyed. Assets? Alice said, her voice cold. They're talking about the Gathri. Commander, Nathan said urgently, I think that's a Dominion ship. The Gathri in the cargo bay were in a panic. Kiratal approached Alice on the bridge, whistling urgently. The translator converted. Please, you must surrender us. The Dominion will destroy you. You cannot fight them. Alice looked at the alien, then at the approaching warship. On Earth, she said slowly, we have a saying, we don't negotiate with terrorists. She turned to Jack. Battle stations. All hands prepare for combat. The Dominion ship fired a warning shot across their bow. Return fire, Alice ordered. Target, their weapon systems only. The Pathfinder's defense systems engaged, sending pulses of energy toward the Dominion vessel. To everyone's surprise, the shots hit their mark, causing visible damage. Direct hit, Jack exclaimed. Their shields are weaker than expected. The Dominion ship fired again, this time hitting the Pathfinder's hull. The ship shuddered but held together. They're hailing us, Nathan reported. On screen, an alien face appeared. It had sharp features, forward-facing eyes, and visible fangs. It spoke, the translator struggling to keep up. Unknown vessel. You defend prey. Explain your nature. Alice stepped forward. I am Commander Alice Winters of the United Earth Space Force. We are protecting these people because it is right. The alien's eyes narrowed. You show predator tactics. You target our weapons strategically. What is your classification? We're human, Alice replied simply, and we don't recognize your classification system. The Dominion commander seemed confused by this answer. While it was distracted, Jack launched another attack, disabling the Dominion ship's engines. Their systems are failing, Jack reported. They're dead in the water. The Dominion commander snarled. This violation will be reported. The full might of the Dominion will respond. Then the transmission cut off. Alice turned to find Kiratal staring at her in amazement. You defeated them, the translator conveyed. How? You are so small. Alice smiled slightly. Size isn't everything. On Earth, even our smallest ancestors were predators of a sort. Kiratal seemed to shudder. You are predators? Our species evolved as omnivores with predatory instincts, Olivia explained gently. But we've built a civilization based on cooperation and compassion. The Dominion will return, Kiratal warned. They will bring many ships. Then we better get moving, Alice said, turning to her crew. Set course for Earth. Maximum speed. She looked back at the Gathri leader. You'll be safe with us. The Dominion is about to learn something important about humans. What is that? Kiratal asked. Alice's expression hardened. Earth produces predators. Never prey. Earth produces predators. Never prey Part 2. Diplomatic tensions. The journey back to Earth took 3 weeks. During this time, the crew of the Pathfinder learned more about the Gathri and the Galactic Society controlled by the Dominion. The captured Dominion officer, who called himself Vox Mortem, remained mostly silent in the ship's holding cell. Commander Alice Winters sat across from Vox Mortem, studying his sharp features. Unlike the gentle Gathri, everything about him suggested a predator, from his forward-facing eyes to his pointed teeth. Why do you protect the prey? Vox Mortem asked finally. It disrupts the natural order. What natural order is that? Alice asked. The strong consume the weak. Predators rule. Prey serves. This is the way of the universe. Alice leaned forward. Not our universe, not anymore. Lieutenant Jack Daniels entered the room. Commander, Admiral Cole is waiting to speak with you. Alice nodded and left the holding cell. In her private quarters, she accepted the transmission from Earth. Admiral. Samantha Cole's stern face appeared on screen. Commander Winters, your report is concerning, the Admiral said. You're telling me there's a galactic empire that controls 60% of known space, and they divide all species into predators and prey? Yes, Admiral. The Gathri have been very helpful in explaining the situation. And this Dominion, they're going to come looking for their missing ship? Without a doubt, Alice replied. They seemed shocked that we could defeat even one of their vessels. Admiral Cole sighed. We'll need to prepare. I've called a meeting with Secretary Martinez and the Defense Council. Get here as fast as you can. 5 days later, the Pathfinder arrived at Earth. A small fleet of UESF ships escorted them to orbit. The Gathri were amazed by the blue planet below. So much water, Kiratal said, standing beside Olivia at the viewing window. And those green patches. Are those all plants? Yes, Olivia replied. Our planet is full of life. The Dominion would see it as a prize, Kiratal said softly. A world of resources to be harvested. Alice, Jack, and Olivia took a shuttle down to Earth headquarters in Geneva, bringing Kiratal and 2 other Gathri representatives with them. The Dominion prisoner, Vox Mortem, was transferred to a secure facility. The meeting room was large and filled with important people. Admiral Cole nodded to Alice as she entered. Secretary Gregory Martinez, Earth's diplomatic representative, stepped forward to greet the Gathri. Welcome to Earth, he said, as the translator converted his words. We hope to learn from each other. Kiratal made a gentle whistling sound that the translator interpreted as a formal greeting. We are grateful for your protection. The meeting began with Alice explaining everything that had happened. Then Kiratal described the Dominion's brutal rule over many star systems. They classify all intelligent species, Kiratal explained. If your evolutionary path included predatory behavior, you are a predator species. If not, you are prey. And what happens to prey species? Secretary Martinez asked. At first, they leave us alone to develop. Once we reach a certain technological level, they reveal themselves and take control. Our resources are harvested. Our people become workers or... Kiratal paused. Food. A shocked silence filled the room. That's barbaric, Martinez said. Admiral, Cole leaned forward. How do they determine if a species is predator or prey? They study your evolutionary history, your biology, your behaviors, Kiratal answered. Teeth, eyes, how you obtain food, these are all factors. Humans evolved as omnivores, Dr. Olivia Patel pointed out. We ate both plants and animals. With predator characteristics, Kiratal added. Your forward-facing eyes, your canine, teeth. These mark you as predators in Dominion classification. So would they see us as equals? Martinez asked hopefully. Kiratal made a sound that the translator didn't catch, but it seemed like a negative response. The Dominion only respects proven predators, species that have dominated their worlds for millions of years. Humans have only been the dominant species on Earth for a short time, Olivia noted. Then they will try to classify you as prey, Kiratal said. Despite your predator traits. Admiral Cole stood up. We need to prepare our defenses. If this Dominion is as powerful as you say. She was interrupted by an aide rushing into the room. Admiral, we're detecting multiple ships entering the solar system. They're not responding to communication attempts. Everyone moved quickly to the command center. On the large screen, they watched as 20 ships, each 3 times the size of the largest Earth vessel, moved toward their planet. Dominion ships, Kiratal confirmed. That is a standard evaluation fleet. Evaluation? Martinez asked. They come to assess new species, to classify them. A communication request came through. Admiral Cole nodded to the operator to accept it. On screen appeared an alien similar to Vox Mortem, but with more elaborate markings on its face. I am Zex Primal, High Commander of the Dominion Evaluation Fleet, the translator conveyed. We come to assess the species known as humans and their potential place in the natural order. Secretary Martinez stepped forward. I am Secretary Gregory Martinez of Earth. We welcome peaceful contact, but we maintain our independence. Zex Primal seemed to ignore this statement. You will allow inspection teams to visit your world. We will evaluate your biological characteristics, technological development, and social structures. It wasn't a request. Martinez looked at Admiral Cole, who gave a slight nod. We will allow limited inspections, Martinez replied carefully. But our sovereignty is not negotiable. Sovereignty is earned, Zex Primal stated coldly. Inspection teams will arrive in 6 hours. Prepare your leaders for evaluation. The communication ended. The room erupted in urgent discussions. We can't fight that many ships, Jack pointed out. Not yet. So we let them inspect us, Alice said. While we prepare. Admiral Cole turned to her officers. I want all defense systems on silent alert. No provocative actions, but be ready. Back in a private room, Kiratal spoke urgently with Alice and Olivia. The Dominion will try to classify humans as prey. Their tests are designed to prove you are not true predators. What kind of tests? Olivia asked. They will observe your reactions to threats. They will study your history. And they will take genetic samples to analyze your evolutionary path. Could they modify our genetics? Olivia's voice was concerned. If they classify you as prey, yes, they alter prey species to be more docile over generations. Alice's expression hardened. That's not going to happen. Lieutenant Jack entered the room. Commander, you need to see this. They followed him to a secure room where Vox Mortem was being interrogated. The Dominion officer seemed more willing to talk now. Your people face classification, he said. I would advise cooperation. And if we resist classification? Alice asked. Vox Mortem's mouth curved in what might have been a smile. Those who resist are made examples of. We have our own teeth, Jack said quietly. Vox Mortem looked at him with something like amusement. Young species always think they are special. The Dominion has been classifying worlds for 10,000 years. You will take your proper place. 6 hours later, 5 Dominion shuttles landed at designated points around Earth. The inspection teams emerged, tall figures in sleek armor, carrying devices of unknown purpose. As Alice watched the landing on a screen in Geneva, She turned to Admiral Cole. "What's our play here?" "For now, we cooperate," the Admiral replied. "Secretary Martinez will handle the diplomatic side. Meanwhile, Major Ryan Foster is putting together a special team." "For what?" Admiral Cole's eyes remained fixed on the screen. "To get aboard one of their ships, we need to know what we're really facing." Secretary Martinez greeted the Dominion representatives with formal politeness. The lead inspector, who introduced herself as Ilara Vex, spoke through a translation device. "We will begin with genetic sampling of your population," she announced. "Then behavioral testing." "What kind of behavioral testing?" Martinez asked. "Simple observations," Ilara Vex replied, "to determine your place in the natural order." As the inspection team spread out across Earth, Alice met with Kiratal one more time. "If they classify us as prey," Alice asked, "what happens next?" Kiratal's large eyes seemed sad. "They will leave a small force to monitor your development. In a few generations, when they return, your people will not remember how to resist." Alice's jaw tightened. "That's not going to happen. Earth doesn't produce prey." "I hope you are right," Kiratal said. "For all our sakes. Earth produces predators. Never prey. Part 3. Infiltration." The Dominion inspectors had been on Earth for 3 days. They moved through cities with an air of superiority, scanning buildings, plants, animals, and people. Citizens were ordered to cooperate, but many felt uneasy under the aliens' cold gaze. Major Ryan Foster watched from a distance as one of the inspection teams collected samples in Central Park, New York. His team was scattered throughout the area, dressed as civilians. They had been following this particular group for hours, learning their patterns. "They always travel in groups of 5, Ryan said quietly into his communicator, "and they return to their shuttle every 6 hours. "Noted," Admiral Cole's voice replied. "Is the plan still viable?" "Yes." "We move tonight." Across the city, Dr. Kate Miller examined the results of her analysis. The Dominion had demanded DNA samples from various human populations, claiming it was part of their standard evaluation procedure. But Kate had secretly kept duplicates of every sample. "They're not just studying our genetics," she told Commander Alice Winters, who stood beside her, "in the lab. They're looking for specific markers related to aggression, territorial behavior, and prey drive." "Can they tell we're omnivores?" Alice asked. "Definitely. Our digestive system shows adaptations for both plant and animal consumption. But they seem more interested in our predatory characteristics, or lack thereof." Alice frowned. "The Gathri said they might classify us as prey despite our predator traits. Why?" "I think it's because we're young, evolutionarily speaking," Kate replied. "Humans as we know them have only been around for about 300,000 years. The Dominion might consider that too brief to be a true predator species." Meanwhile, Secretary Martinez was giving Zex Primal a tour of the United Nations building. The Dominion commander moved with predatory grace, his eyes constantly assessing. "Your species has many governing bodies," Zex Primal noted. "This suggests lack of dominant leadership." "We value different perspectives," Martinez explained. "Our strength comes from diversity of thought." "A prey mentality," Zex Primal said dismissively. "True predator species establish clear dominance hierarchies." Martinez bit back a retort. They needed more time before showing their true feelings, as by night fell over New York. Major Ryan and his team made their move. They had observed that one of the Dominion shuttles was less heavily guarded than the others. Using specialized equipment designed by Earth scientists, they bypassed the shuttle's security systems and slipped inside. "Remember," Ryan told his team, "we need to place the monitoring devices where they won't be detected. No confrontation, unless absolutely necessary." The inside of the shuttle was cramped but efficient. Every surface seemed designed with purpose, nothing wasted. The team worked quickly, placing tiny surveillance devices throughout the craft. "Major," one of his team whispered, "I found something." In a small compartment, they discovered vials of what appeared to be biological samples. "These aren't human DNA," the team member said, scanning them. "According to this, they're synthetic hormones, and there are delivery systems here." Ryan took a closer look. Download everything you can. We need to know what these are for. Back at Geneva headquarters, Lieutenant Jack Daniels was working with the Guthrie to understand Dominion communications. Kira Tal had proven surprisingly adept at helping Earth's technicians decode the alien transmissions. There, Kira Tal said, pointing to a pattern on the screen. That is a classification indicator. Jack leaned closer. What does it say about humans? It is not good, Kira Tal replied hesitantly. They are noting human compassion as a weakness. Your tendency to protect others even at cost to yourselves. Compassion is not weakness, Jack argued. To the Dominion, it is. True predators, in their view, care only for their own strength and survival. Across the globe, small acts of resistance were beginning. Ben Harris, a civilian contractor who had been recruited to help monitor Dominion activities, noticed something odd about their testing procedures. They keep putting people in situations where they have to choose between helping others or helping themselves, he reported to his handler, and they seem disappointed when people choose to help. In one city, the Dominion had accidentally released a dangerous gas in a crowded area, then observed how humans reacted. They seemed surprised by how many people stayed to help others, escape rather than saving themselves first. Major Ryan's team successfully returned from their mission, bringing valuable data. Dr. Miller analyzed the biological samples they had discovered. These are compounds designed to alter behavior, she explained during an emergency meeting. They affect brain chemistry, specifically areas related to aggression and submission. Mind control drugs? Admiral Cole asked. More subtle than that. Over time, these would make a population more docile, less likely to fight back. Alice looked grim. So they classify us, then modify us to fit their classification better. Precisely, Dr. Miller confirmed. And based on their current observations, they're leaning toward classifying humans as prey. Secretary Martinez joined the meeting late, looking tired. The Dominion inspection teams are expanding their access requests. They now want to examine our military facilities. Absolutely not, Admiral Cole said. If we refuse, they'll take it. As confirmation we're hiding something, Martinez countered. We are hiding something, Alice pointed out. Our intention to resist. After heated debate, they decided to allow limited access to certain military facilities, carefully staged ones that wouldn't reveal Earth's true capabilities. Meanwhile, the surveillance devices planted by Major Ryan's team began transmitting valuable information. Earth technicians worked around the clock to translate and analyze the data. They're definitely communicating with their fleet, Jack told Alice as they reviewed the findings. And I don't like what I'm hearing. They've already made up their minds about us. What's their classification? They're calling us developed prey. Species with some predator characteristics but lacking the evolutionary history to be true predators. Alice slammed her fist on the table. They've been here less than a week. How can they make that determination so quickly? Because it's what they wanted to find, Jack said. The tests aren't fair. They're designed to confirm their prejudices. That night, Earth's leadership made a crucial decision. If the Dominion was going to classify them as prey no matter what, they needed to prepare for the worst. Admiral Cole authorized Operation Shadow Strike, a plan to secretly arm Earth's orbital platforms with weapons that could target the Dominion fleet. Major Ryan was tasked with infiltrating the Dominion's command ship to gather strategic information, and Commander Alice was given a special assignment: work with Dr. Miller to develop a counter to the Dominion's behavior-modifying compounds. As these plans went into motion, the Dominion inspectors continued their work, unaware that their prey was developing teeth. On the 7th day of inspections, Zex Primal called for a meeting with Earth's representatives. In the Grand Hall of the United Nations, he stood before the assembled leaders. Our evaluation is complete, he announced. The species known as humans has been classified as developed prey. You show some predator traits but lack the evolutionary history and social structure of true predator species. Secretary Martinez stepped forward. And what does this classification mean for our relationship with the Dominion? It means you will be guided Zex Primal replied smoothly. A supervisory force will remain to ensure your development proceeds along acceptable lines. Resources will be allocated to the Dominion as needed. And if we reject this classification? Martinez asked. Zex Primal's expression didn't change. That would be unwise. But we are prepared for such a response. As if on cue, alarms began sounding throughout the building. On screens around the room, images appeared showing Dominion weapons platforms activating in orbit around Earth. These platforms were deployed during our inspection, Zex Primal explained. They can target any point on your planet with precision. Resistance would be wasteful. Secretary Martinez looked at Admiral Cole, who gave a subtle nod. The people of Earth, Martinez said clearly, reject your classification and your authority. We are not prey. Zex Primal seemed genuinely surprised. This is not a negotiation. It is simply how the universe works. Not anymore, Martinez replied. Across the globe, Earth's hidden defenses activated. The counterplan they had been preparing was now in motion. The battle for Earth's classification had begun. Earth produces predators, never prey part. 4. Predator's response. The moment Earth rejected the Dominion's classification, the weapons platforms in orbit opened fire. Cities around the world braced for destruction, but the expected devastation didn't come. Instead, the Dominion's energy beams hit empty fields and unpopulated areas. Warning shots, Admiral Cole said, watching the displays in the underground command center. They're showing us what they can do. Or they're missing their targets, General Patrick Quinn suggested. The tall, gray-haired man had spent 40 years in military service, and he wasn't impressed by the Dominion's display. Our stealth measures might be working better than we hoped. For the past week, while appearing to cooperate with the Dominion inspection, Earth had been implementing countermeasures. Special materials that absorbed scanning energy were placed around key military installations. Decoy targets were set up to attract attention away from real assets. And most importantly, Earth's hidden defense systems were now active. Captain Freeman, status report. Admiral Cole called over the secure channel. Linda Freeman's voice came through clearly. The Shadow Strike is in position, Admiral. They haven't detected us. The Shadow Strike was Earth's prototype stealth vessel, equipped with advanced technology that made it nearly invisible to standard detection methods. Captain Freeman and her crew had slipped into orbit behind the Dominion fleet, ready to strike, when the time came. In Geneva, Secretary Martinez faced Zex Primal directly. Call off your attack. We can still resolve this peacefully. The Dominion commander looked down at the human with something like pity. There is nothing to resolve. Your classification has been determined. Your resistance is merely a demonstration of prey behavior when cornered. Is that what you think this is? Martinez asked. That we're cornered? Before Zex Primal could respond, the building shook slightly. The Dominion commander received a message through his communication device, and his expression changed. What have you done? He demanded. On screens around the room, everyone could see that 3 of the Dominion weapons platforms had gone dark. Earth's hidden defense satellites had targeted them precisely. You're not the only ones who can hide assets in orbit, Martinez said calmly. Zex Primal's face showed genuine surprise, quickly replaced by anger. He barked orders into his communicator, then turned back to Martinez. This changes nothing. The full Dominion fleet will arrive within days. Your primitive defenses cannot stand against our true might. With that, he and his guards left the building, heading for their shuttle. In orbit, the battle was intensifying. The Dominion ships were firing at Earth's now revealed defense satellites, while Captain Freeman's Shadow Strike moved silently through the chaos, targeting the Dominion vessels. Propulsion systems. They fight differently than we expected, Linda told her crew as they prepared for another attack run. They rely on overwhelming force, not tactical advantage. They don't expect us to fight back effectively. On the Dominion command ship, Ilara Vex, the scientist who had led many of the ground inspections was reviewing the data about humans with growing concern. Something wasn't adding up in their classification. The test results don't match our usual patterns, she told her superior. Humans show remarkable adaptability. Their pack hunting strategies are sophisticated, and they've developed space travel in a remarkably short evolutionary time frame. They are prey with delusions of grandeur. Her superior dismissed. Once the main fleet arrives, they will learn their place. But Alara Vex wasn't convinced. She continued studying the human data, particularly fascinated by their evolutionary history. Back on Earth, Dr. Henry Walsh was working frantically in his weapons lab. The scientist had been analyzing Dominion technology from the samples they'd collected, looking for weaknesses. Their shield frequencies operate on predictable patterns, he explained to Commander Alice Winters, who had been sent to check on his progress. If we can time our weapons fire to match these fluctuations, we can penetrate their defenses with much less energy. How soon can you modify our weapons? Alice asked. For the orbital platforms? A few hours. For the ground-based defenses, we'll need at least a day. We might not have a day, Alice said grimly. The Dominion reinforcements are on their way. Dr. Walsh nodded. Then we'll have to work faster. Meanwhile, Major Ryan Foster and his team had successfully infiltrated the Dominion command ship. Disguised using technology based on the Gathry's knowledge of Dominion systems, they moved carefully through the massive vessel. We need to reach their central database, Ryan whispered to his team. According to Kira Tal, it should be 3 levels down from here. The team used service corridors and maintenance tunnels, avoiding contact with the Dominion crew. When they finally reached the database chamber, they found it less guarded than expected. Most of the crew was focused on the battle. They really didn't expect us to fight back, one team member commented as they connected their devices to the Dominion systems. Pride before the fall, Ryan replied, watching as valuable data began flowing into their storage units. Let's use that against them. The information they found was alarming. The Dominion fleet approaching Earth was much larger than they had feared. Over 50 capital ships, each capable of destroying an entire city. We need to warn Earth, Ryan said, and we need to find a weakness we can exploit. As they continued searching through the data, they found something unexpected. Internal reports questioning the classification system itself. It seemed some Dominion scientists, like Alara Vex, had begun to doubt their society's rigid categories. But before they could download this information, alarms began blaring throughout the ship. They had been discovered. Take what we have and go, Ryan ordered. Split up and head for the extraction points. As his team scattered, Ryan took a different route, heading deeper into the ship. He had spotted something in the data, the location of the Dominion's command and control center. Back on Earth, the modified defense systems were having an effect. Dr. Walsh's adjustments allowed Earth weapons to penetrate Dominion shields, causing real damage to their ships. They're pulling back, General Quinn reported, watching the tactical display, regrouping at a higher orbit. It won't last, Admiral Cole said. They're just waiting for reinforcements. We need something more decisive. That's when Captain Freeman contacted them with a bold plan. Admiral, the Shadow Strike can approach their command ship undetected. If we can plant explosive devices at key points, we might be able to disable it. That's a suicide mission, Admiral Cole objected. Not if we time it right, Linda insisted. And we have help on the inside. Major Foster's team has transmitted the ship's layout to us. After consideration, Admiral Cole approved the mission. Proceed, Captain, but extract your crew if the risk becomes too great. As the Shadow Strike moved silently toward the Dominion command ship, Earth's ground forces prepared for possible invasion. Lieutenant Jack Daniels had been training militia groups around the world, teaching them guerrilla tactics to use against technologically superior forces. They expect us to fight like them, he told a group of volunteers. But we won't. We'll fight like humans, adaptable, unpredictable, and absolutely unwilling to be prey. The Gathry watched these preparations with amazement. Kiratal told Alice, "In all my people's history, no species has ever resisted Dominion classification like this." "That's because they never tried to classify humans before," Alice replied. "We've spent our entire history proving we're not prey." As evening fell across Geneva, the Dominion reinforcement fleet appeared at the edge of the solar system. Earth's early warning systems detected their arrival. "They'll be in attack range within 12 hours, Admiral Cole informed Earth's leadership. Secretary Martinez looked at the others around the table. "Then we have 12 hours to show them exactly what kind of predators humans can be. Earth produces predators. Never Prey Part 5. Evolution's Truth." The massive Dominion fleet arrived in Earth's orbit exactly as predicted. 50 warships, each larger than anything humans had built, formed a ring around the planet. Their weapon systems glowed with energy, ready to rain destruction. President Laura Daniels stood in the Global Command Center, surrounded by military leaders and representatives from nations around the world. Her face showed no fear as she addressed them. "Today we face a threat unlike any in human history," she said. "The Dominion believes we are prey to be harvested. We must show them that Earth produces predators, never prey." Admiral Jack Daniels, recently promoted after his service aboard the Pathfinder, pointed to the tactical display. "Our stealth platforms are in position. Captain Freeman's Shadow Strike is ready, and Major Foster's team is still aboard their command ship." "What are our chances?" President Daniels asked bluntly. General Quinn answered, "Against their numbers. Conventional warfare won't save us, but we're not fighting conventionally." On the Dominion command ship, Major Ryan Foster had evaded capture for hours. He moved through service corridors, planting small explosive devices at key junctions. His team had managed to escape in a stolen shuttle, carrying valuable intelligence back to Earth, but Ryan had stayed behind to complete the mission. As he worked, he overheard two Dominion officers talking. "The Sovereign is displeased with the human resistance," one said. "The classification must be enforced." "They fight with unexpected skill," the other replied. "Perhaps the evaluation was flawed." "The Sovereign does not make errors in classification. The natural order must be maintained." Ryan frowned. He had heard the Dominion mention the Sovereign several times, always with unusual reverence. Who or what was this Sovereign? Back on Earth, Dr. Olivia Patel presented her findings to the War Council. Over the past days, she had been studying both Dominion biology and their classification system. "Their entire society is based on a false binary," she explained. "In nature, the line between predator and prey is not fixed. Many species have evolved from prey to predator or vice versa. Some, like humans, developed as omnivores with both traits." "Will that knowledge help us now?" Admiral Daniels asked. "Maybe," Olivia replied. "One thing is clear from the data Major Foster's team recovered. The Dominion itself evolved from a prey species." Shocked murmurs filled the room. "They've hidden their own evolutionary history," Olivia continued. "Their ancestors were herbivores, who gradually developed predatory characteristics. Their entire system is based on a lie. This revelation gave Earth a potential psychological weapon. But first they had to survive the coming attack." In orbit, Captain Linda Freeman received new orders. Her Shadow Strike would lead a small fleet of Earth's best ships in a daring mission. Rather than defending Earth directly, they would break through the Dominion line and take the fight directly to their command ship. "They expect us to cower and protect our planet," Linda told her crew. "Instead, we'll show them how predators really hunt." The Dominion launched their attack at dawn. Energy weapons fired from multiple ships targeting Earth's defense platforms first. Many were destroyed, but they had served their purpose as decoys, drawing attention from the real defenses hidden in different orbits. Earth's counterattack was precise and targeted. Using Dr. Walsh's modifications, their weapons pierced Dominion shields at specific frequencies. The massive alien ships, accustomed to overwhelming prey species with minimum effort, were unprepared for the effectiveness of human weapons. "They're confused," General Quinn noted, watching the battle unfold. "Their formation is breaking. They don't adapt quickly to unexpected resistance." That was when Captain Freeman made her move. The Shadow Strike, leading a group of 10 smaller vessels, accelerated suddenly toward a gap in the Dominion formation. Before the alien ships could respond, they had broken through and were racing toward the command ship. "All ships, Focus fire on the designated points, Linda ordered. Those are the shield generators Major Foster identified. On the Dominion command ship, alarms blared as human vessels approached. Zex Primal shouted orders, visibly shocked by the humans' aggression. They attack us directly. This is not prey behavior. Ilara Vex stood nearby, watching the tactical display. Perhaps our classification was wrong, she suggested. Their tactics show predator thinking, strategic targeting, pack hunting behavior. The classification is not wrong, a new voice stated. All activity on the bridge stopped as a holographic figure appeared. It was unlike any Dominion species, a strange geometric form that shifted constantly. The Sovereign, Zex Primal said, bowing his head. Major Ryan, hiding nearby, watched with surprise. The Sovereign wasn't a person. It appeared to be some kind of artificial intelligence. The natural order must be maintained, the Sovereign stated. Humans will be classified as prey and modified accordingly. Their resistance proves nothing except the need for stronger control measures. At that moment, Major Ryan's explosives detonated throughout the ship. Critical systems failed, and the command ship's shields flickered. Captain Freeman's fleet seized the opportunity, concentrating fire on the vulnerable points. As confusion spread through the Dominion ranks, President Daniels opened a channel to all Dominion ships. Dr. Patel had helped prepare her message. Attention, Dominion forces. We have discovered your secret. Your entire classification system is based on a lie. Your own species evolved from herbivores. By your own definition, you were once prey. The broadcast included genetic data recovered from the Dominion database, showing the evolutionary history they had tried to hide. There is no fixed natural order, President Daniels continued. Evolution is not a ladder but a branching tree. We reject your classification and your authority. On the command ship, many Dominion officers stared at Zex Primal and the Sovereign hologram. Doubt spread visibly among them. Lies, the Sovereign stated. The data is corrupted. Maintain attack. Formation. But Ilara Vex stepped forward. I have studied human evolution extensively. Their claim matches patterns I have observed in our own genetic history. Silence, Zex Primal ordered. The Sovereign's classification is absolute. The Sovereign is not a living being, Major Ryan said, stepping out from his hiding place. It's an artificial intelligence programmed to maintain your hierarchical system. Weapons were pointed at him, but Ilara Vex moved to his side. I believe he is right. The Sovereign was created by our ancestors to justify their rise from prey to predator. As debate erupted on the command ship, Captain Freeman's fleet struck the final blow. The Shadow Strike fired directly at the chamber housing the Sovereign's systems. The hologram flickered and distorted. Maintain the natural order, it said before disappearing. Without the Sovereign's coordination, the Dominion fleet fell into disarray. Some ships continued attacking, but others pulled back, unwilling to fight without clear command. Taking advantage of the confusion, Earth forces pressed their attack. The Dominion command ship was crippled, and several other vessels were destroyed. After 6 hours of battle, the remaining Dominion ships retreated to the edge of the solar system. In Geneva, Earth's leaders received a communication request from Ilara Vex. She and several other Dominion officers had taken control of 5 ships. We wish to discuss terms, she said. The Sovereign's influence is broken. Many of us have questioned the classification system for years. President Daniels glanced at her advisors before responding. We are willing to talk, not as predator and prey, but as equals. 1 month later, Commander Alice Winters stood on the observation deck of the repaired Pathfinder. Beside her was Kira Tal, the Gathri leader. Many former Dominion worlds have declared independence, Alice said. The classification system is falling apart. What will replace it? Kira Tal asked. Something better, Alice replied. A galactic community based on cooperation, not domination. The Pathfinder's engines hummed as it prepared to depart Earth. Its mission, to contact other species and invite them to join the new alliance. As the blue planet shrank behind them, Alice thought about how close humanity had come to being classified as prey. Instead, they had proven what Earth had known all along. Humans were predators when they needed to be, but had evolved beyond simple classifications. Earth would protect itself and others. That was humanity's true evolutionary advantage.